Okay, so we got the new converter installed. After doing one kind of quick test drive, I realized, this is a 700R4, and I paid for a lockup converter. So this car had a fairly tight converter in it. I think it was like the next step from stock would be, was in this. And it was a non-lockup converter. I assumed it was working in this car because it was so tight. So this thing felt like it was locked all the time. So when I put the high stall 3500 in there, it started heating up the tranny, and I was pretty sure, you could tell, like it'd be 200 RPM down the highway, and then as you kind of tip into it, it would just rev up to 3. It was pretty fluid feeling. It didn't feel, connected at all. So I was like, I don't think this lockup's working. So I did some research and how to test basically the lockup solenoid in these things, and I'll turn. So basically, this right here is your lockup TCC solenoid, torque converter lockup solenoid. So these are prone to going bad. Apparently mine was never working. I just never noticed because the converter was so tight. So basically, these are pretty simple, typical solenoid. We got a black and a red wire. And before I dropped this pan, I tried how they tell you to test them. This one is set up with a lockup switch, or a vacuum operated switch. So that's basically putting a brake in the ground. And so the way this is a TCI, so the way their kit works is as soon as you tip in on your throttle, this breaks the ground connection and disengages the lockup. So basically I tried jumping in, I tried hooking these. There's different ways depending on what year the yours is, how these work, but basically you're supposed to be able to hear a faint clicking inside if you jump it when it's just shut off, and I couldn't. So I dropped the pan. Easiest way was just directly hooked to this, and nothing. Yeah, she was dead. So I tested this one. I ordered this on Amazon. Tried going to the supporting local shops, but none of them seemed to know what the heck I was talking about. So $30 on Amazon, and tried it on the bench. It clicks, so we should be good. The way that these ones are set up, the TCIs, they have this is your pressure switch for your overdrive. So when you shift into overdrive, this gets pressure and this connects the circuit. So some are single, basically they're one prong and they will ground. And so when they get pressure, they ground, and then that completes your ground. These are set up a little bit different, so you have 2 wires. So to test this, I should be able to. I've connected these, so I don't have to have it in running and drive, obviously. And then I disconnected my vacuum line. I hooked up just some fuel line here. So when I put power, I gotta turn the car on. I should be able to suck through this, creating a vacuum. I did test this ahead of time, so I know this works. And in theory, all this, I should hear this click. So we'll see. Just gotta turn the key on. Okay, so it's got power. Let's see if this thing clicks. Did you hear that? Okay. So it was not doing that before. So that should be working. That's awesome. So right now, the way this is set up, this would be the second that it gets vacuum, it would engage. We don't want that because we don't want it engaging first, second, third. That can be really hard on it. So you just want an overdrive. So that's awesome. I'm happy with that. Super satisfying. Nice. Okay. So I will disconnect this, hook these back up to how they were. Doesn't matter which way they go. Now, as long as that sensor is good, this shouldn't do anything. Yep, nope, we're good. So I'm assuming this sensor is good. I mean, these should be fine. It was basically, when you have a problem like this, you're trying to find a smoking gun that's really obvious, and I was actually happy when this thing was dead. It was really easy to test, and generally, if you have a problem and you can find something like that, that's a good thing. That's not if you can't find a problem, that's more frustrating than anything. So, yeah. The other thing I have found, so TCI puts these filters in. This is a stock 704 filter. They're a bottom pickup, and these are a top pickup. So I was a little confused when I got this one. The pan's the right, the gasket and everything's the right shape. So I think I've heard, I don't know if it's true, but TCI puts these in. They're a 200R filter. They say, people were saying it's because they flow more. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm gonna put the stock one back in. They seem to be the same height when they're sitting there. So this pickup tube's a little bit longer, but I don't think it's gonna matter once the seal's on there. The seal's the same size, so that's what I'm gonna do. And then the bottom pickup will be nicer. That way you've got a little more, you know, if you're running low on fluid for whatever reason, you're not picking up air. Yeah, so this 700 R4 lockup Boss Hog converter I bought. It is their 32 to 3500 stall. Different people said different things. When you're looking online, people say to order a higher stall than what it's rated for, because they tend to be tight. They won't stall as high as they're advertised. But then other people were saying, well, if it's behind a big block Chevy, then they'll stall higher, or they can. So I was kind of not sure what to. You're always kind of taking a risk with off-the-shelf converter. This motor, it's around 500 horsepower, something like that. So, 500 foot-pounds of torque, something like that. I've never dynoed it, I don't know, but should be something like that. And then also it's running like 100 shot of nitrous. So this converter is not really designed for nitrous, but I was running the other one fine, with the anti-ballooning plates and stuff like that. I'm not smacking it off the line or anything like that, so I think it'll be okay. It's super light, and free rev's really nice. And anyway, so I kind of was trying to figure out what stall to go. This is a street strip car, mostly on the street really. But obviously I'm putting it on so it doesn't surge at the lights, this higher stall converter, and then at the, hopefully for better ETs, the drag strip. And every drag strip guy or drag race guy I was talking to was encouraging me to go higher at the stall speed. And I didn't want to go, affect the characteristics of the car too much. So, the drivability of it. So I ordered anyways, I ended up having to buy a cooler, a very large cooler, because I tried driving it with this cooler here, and obviously it's under the floor, so it's not getting great airflow, but And with the lockup not locking, it was getting warm on a fairly cool day even. So I hopefully with this lockup, it'll behave a little better on the street. It's a little loose for my liking right now. And it should be, it basically, put it this way, it flashes to, I mean, it's really hard to tell on the street, like from a dig, it just blows the tires off. But, you know, if you do third gear, your 1-to-1 ratio, and then kind of mat it so it's not going to be spinning, it flashes to like, it's over $4,000, you know, so at wide open throttle. So that's pretty loose. And I think drag strip, that'll be good, because a red line on this car is about 6,200, 65 maybe. So it should be good at the track with slicks and everything like that. Hopefully, you know, my drag race setup's not amazing. It's, you know, rear suspension wise, but big tire on this car. And yeah, the lockup. If this lockup works, it'll be awesome. It'll be kind of best of both worlds. You should be able to lock up, you know, direct, cruise on the highway, and then it's a fairly efficient converter if you're just easy on it around town kind of deal. But anyway, so because it was slipping higher than I expected, I had to order a big cooler with a fan, because this car doesn't have much of a front end, and I have a pusher fan on it, on the rad, and hard to show you. I don't have a ton of room in the front of this thing. The rad's already pushed ahead more than it would be stock, and then it's, you know, there's a bit of a gap there, but it's just too tight for the like that. Basically, that pusher fan is like against the grill bars, and the rad is actually pushed, this grill shell's pushed ahead, I guess what I'm trying to say, already. And I mean, I could put a cooler there, but now you're kind of preheating the cooler. That would work. But I think I got a lot of room under here. So I think I'm gonna mount it down here. And then, because it's not getting much airflow, and plus if you're doing a cruise or whatever, you know, stop and go a lot, the fan should really help. And then it's a plate cooler, so they're way more efficient. This is like a 12 by 13 cooler, so that's my next plan. I thought also, while I have the pan off on this 700 R4, I'd show you a proper TV cable adjustment. They can be really finicky and cause you a lot of grief and burn up transmissions if they're not done quite right. So I'll show you here. Okay, you see better? Perfect. Okay, so it comes down from your throttle linkage. It comes down into here, and basically what it does, it controls the pressure of your shifts with this this button. And so I'll put this light on here. What you're looking for with these is, you don't, if this thing here is completely slack, it'll have a gap. It'll start rolling around and it won't even be contacting this here. So what you're looking for, you don't want to have pressure on here. That'll start making you like really put, you know, you're shifting into drive, it'll really clunk hard and all your shifts will be extra firm, more than you want, because it's going to think you're accelerating harder than you are. So what you're looking for is basically just contact this button. See, this button moves. So let it come all the way out, and then what you want to do, see, pull this back, and what you're going to do is basically snap it and see where it stops. And what you want is it basically just touching, but not pushing. Okay, so if I pull this back now, it does, see how it didn't move? This takes very little pressure to move the first bit. So that's basically what you're looking for. That's perfect, exactly what you want. And yeah, so up here, if you can't get it exactly right, because sometimes if you have an aftermarket, like a aftermarket cable style, I like to add a spring. I saw someone else do this one time, because what I was finding is I had to have it actually slightly loose down at the transmission, so that when you go full throttle to sweep, this cable would get tight before it was at full throttle, and I didn't want to break this cable off. So I have a stiff spring in here, basically, so I can have perfect adjustment down at the transmission, and then it's, as it gets to full throttle, it's got some give here. So that's just a little tip for you guys. And yeah, basically, yeah, with these automatic transmissions, these old school ones, don't be afraid to pull the pan off and inspect them, because there's a few things. Like with this pan here, you drain this fluid out. I had to wipe this thing out really good, because this, you can't get all the fluid out when you drain these. And there was all that clutch material kicked in here. So just check little things like that. Change your filters. Test your solenoids, your sensors. That's what, you know, I obviously didn't realize I had a problem until I changed the converter and found out that it was not locking up. So